Peter Ward will probably flip the ball in, which he does do. Andy Price takes the applause of the crowd. I'm on a date tonight, so I'll have to just up and go to... No, I'll just do it in front of her, shouldn't I?
He's kept going! He scored! Oh, Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net! It's Palmer! And a superb goal! Johnny did it! Lisa! Rose tries to get the ball in. Wilkinson! The Warren his first goal in 13 days. Towards Sars, thinking he's had the goal. And the score! Oh, Paddy Madden! It's a 5-star performance from Stockport County.
All right, we've got a small house, but we've got a big bloody heart, I tell you.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of SK3 TV, the county-related podcast that is well researched and irreverent at the same time, with stuff that will make you go, "Ooh, right, I didn't know that." Yes, every week between the hours of 8 and 9 on a Monday, we are here giving you the first word in all the weekend's county action, but there is none. But we've got an FA Cup draw and we've got loads of stuff to look forward to anyway, regardless, because just pulling content together from everywhere. Joining me tonight is Will. Hello, Will. No Hannah tonight. She's ill.
No,
And Ben's
she's
seen
unwell.
up already.
Ben's
Ben's seen no Hannah
Ben's
and
gone.
just gone.
Yeah, he didn't know it was me clearly, and has decided, no, screw that. I'm not dealing with that weirdo. It's me. You're stuck with me. I apologise. I'm not
There's
nearly
no
as
such thing as
knowledgeable
stuck with you.
Well,
There's a
tell
sausage
that to
fest,
my
though, isn't it?
ex. Yeah, but that's kind of standard for a football podcast.
I suppose so. But this is the first of, I believe, 3 weeks without Hannah, which is very upsetting to me. It's
It's upsetting to me.
Yeah, I feel like shell-shocked by it. I don't think it'll truly sink in until when it's the second week in a row without her.
Well, look, I don't think it helps that this wasn't supposed to be the first week without Hannah. It was supposed to be next week. It's just because she's under the weather, and we do wish Hannah a speedy recovery from whatever it is today.
I don't think you can speak for me, Will. I don't think it's.
I feel like I can there.
I think you can on that matter.
Yeah. No, I think that she might have something similar to what I had like a week or so back, and it is
very much so.
grim.
I'll be next, and I cannot wait. But speaking of Hannah, you'll have seen the trailer at the top of the show. Myself and Hannah will be hosting the Stockport County Supporters Cooperatives evening with Andy Priest. Andy Priest in conversation at the Spinning Top on Wednesday, the 20th of November. Very reasonable ticket prices as well, so we'll pop the link in the episode description and all that, and people can get on. That'd be a good night. Well, you're a Spinning Top drinker as well, aren't you? So
I am. Although for my sins, I've only been once since I moved back to Stockport. I've been too busy. I worked in the evenings and. What?
Excellent use of "for my sins" there. I think Ben will very much. But if Ben can hear us, then he'll be loving that. I mean, if Ben can hear us, it'd be nice if he just gave us a thumbs up to let us know that he can hear everything. All right, that's a worry.
Yeah.
It's Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Ben. No.
Oh, what terrifying! Oh,
This is.
Never had a technical issue in nearly 4 months, and then that goes and happens. Oh, Stu.
Has it been 4 months?
4 months of this podcast, nearly. Yeah, just under 4 months.
God, that's terrifying.
Just under. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Like,
still drinking water.
Still drinking water. I mean, not exclusively.
Well, no, never exclusively.
I do also drink coffee on a regular basis.
Other beverages are available.
That's got water. They are, but they're not really as good, are they? Should we try again with Ben to save
if he's ready? If he's ready,
chat about how much he's just smiled there. So he's just enjoyed some lukewarm beverage chat. I mean, the chat is lukewarm. The beverage is specifically hot. Let's get him in. It's Ben. Hello, Ben.
My favourite kind of beverage chat, Nick, of the lukewarm variety. Hello.
Yay, we have a Ben.
Yes, thank you. I realised what I was doing. I was connected to the VPN, which was why it wouldn't let me in. So I've disconnected, and here I am in actual northwest England, not in.
You've gone from Tajikistan to Sale in the space of a few seconds.
Exactly that. Here we are. Everyone okay?
Yeah.
We're wonderful. We're great. We're basking in the triumph of a fabulous live event last week. We've got another fabulous live event coming up. We've got a favourable FA Cup draw, and we've got some fantastic county trivia tonight. So,
got it all. I'm in my element then, aren't I? Yeah.
What more can you possibly ask for? I mean, probably like a cheese platter or something. That's pretty much the only thing.
I did a corporate at County in February. Did Harrogate at home, and wasn't with the riffraff in the Cheadle end corporate. Was in the one in the main stand. Not quite the Mark Stott premium Porsche lounge one, but I think probably one step down from that in what they call the boardroom. And I'm very much what you might call a heritage supporter, a legacy fan, and all of that. But once a season, I do like a corporate. And free booze, half time, went back in, cheese board. Big fan of a half time cheese board. When you've had like a belly full of ale before the game, been to the toilet 3 times in the first half, cheese board waiting for you. Big fan of that.
Oh, it should be compulsory. That's
Be coming back for more of that at some point this season.
I'm a man of the people, but I think I can get on board with that once a season. I think I can do that.
Doing corporate.
Well, maybe I'll do it for Forest Green.
Doing corporate at Charlton on Saturday. Expecting it'd be the kind of the pie and mash, one complimentary pint as you come in. Champagne welcome, 4-course dinner, private premium seating on the halfway line. So looking forward to annoying club officials on Saturday.
Please don't tell County that you can do premium seating on the halfway line, because I like my seat on the halfway line in the pop side. I'd like to have a similar seat when the new pop side is built. So
no, we won't have you there, Will. You'll be
this one out.
That's dispiriting. I'll be in the moan stand, won't I?
Yes,
the new railway end.
No, I won't be in an end. I won't be in an end.
Call it. Well, I wonder what the new stands will be called.
Oh.
The SK3 TV railway end, I like to think.
Yeah.
The Ben Hinchliffe railway end, sponsored by SK3 TV.
Yeah, because we still have this ludicrous concept of north, south, east, and west stand, don't we? Which the club refer to in like all the planning stuff. It's north, south, east, and west. But obviously, it's Cheadle, Main, Railway, and Pop. Or the Vernon, or the Barlow. The earliest Barlow.
The Barlow. I've started bringing Barlow back. Yeah.
If you're of a certain
Which one?
But I suspect they will either name. They will be like, because even now we've got the Together Vernon stand. With the Together. What?
I think it's just the Together stand. Yeah, I think it's the Together stand. Yeah. I sit in it. I should. What does my season ticket say? It's in the other room. I can't be bothered to go and get it.
Because the Cheadle end used to be the Printerland Cheadle end, didn't it?
The Printerland, yeah. What is it now?
Was it the Robinsons Cheadle end for a while?
It's been the Robinsons, I think. No, I think Robinsons just had a big advertising thing up, but I don't think it was the Robinsons.
I don't think it's ever been the Robinsons.
Parfit's ever had the name either, did they?
No,
just the main sponsorship, yeah. Johnson's Paint were on the top at one point.
I suspect they will give naming rights, if not to the ground, to certain even if not naming rights, they might call it like, obviously they're not going to call it the Jim Gannon stand, but something like that. Whether they name after certain players. I
think it's pretty much nailed on. The railway end will get a corporate sponsor when it's built. I'm fine with it. Like, if it helps fund the building of it, fine. We will still call it the railway end. the only one that I might get a little bit precious about is Edgeley Park, still being called Edgeley Park, not being called the Vita Arena or whatever. But it's going to happen eventually, I imagine.
Vita Arena at Edgeley Park, similar to what Birmingham have got. Birmingham have got something at St Andrews.
Stott said, I asked him this at the fans forum in 2021 when Rusk was still knocking about.
Oh, God, yeah. Said, a classic forum, that.
Would we sell the naming rights? And I think I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but Stott said more or less, it's pointless calling it naming it after Vita because it's just him putting more money in. But it's almost inevitable the ground naming rights will be sold. And to be honest, I'm similar to you. I think as long as we don't end up with like the Tony Macaroni Arena or like the Poundland Stadium or something like that, I'm probably all right with it.
Yeah.
Not to go full partridge, but Consignia and Scope. It's the post office and the Spastic Society.
There we go.
Yeah. Don't like change. Don't like it. But John Billsbury points out in the comments that no one will use the corporate name. It will be. I'm still regularly going to the shop and buying opal fruits, so I see no reason to change any of it. No. Anyway,
and it's a lot less offensive when it's a new stadium as well. Obviously, we're not going to have a new stadium, but something like Reebok, is still everyone knows what you're talking about. If you're saying you're going to a game at the Reebok or who plays at the Reebok, everybody knows that. It's not the University of Bolton Stadium or the Tough Sheet or the Macron. So I think it's forgivable. But
there's the McAlpine as well for Huddersfield. Yes. Wasn't that called the Gal Farm for a bit?
It was, yeah.
The pharmaceutical company. But it was still, I always still thought of it as the McAlpine.
We could have a full-on top nerds chat about naming lap sponsors stadiums, like who played at the Coral Window Stadium, that kind of chat, and just have the best time.
It is the Coral Windows.
Yeah, that's not one I've encountered.
Does anyone know who played with that? Someone's just going to Google it in the comments. I'm just going to tell you. It was Bradford played. I think it was the Coral Window Stadium.
Oh, that's right. It was. Yeah.
I'm not
Wigan's a weird one.
Sponsors' names.
Dave Philbin's mentioned the JJB Stadium, but it's been so long. I've not called it that. I've been calling it the DW Stadium. That's stuck for me. It's one of the rare ones that's actually stuck. Weirdly.
Well, because it was Dave Whelan, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
he was. JJB.
He broke his leg at Wembley.
Yeah. Did he? He should tell more people about that.
Mad, isn't it? God.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. I'd never shut up about that.
I know. If I was the BBC, I'd be on about that all the time. Anyway, that's.
Sorry, I appreciate it. As I always do, I've just kind of kicked the door wide.
No.
Episode.
It's all good stuff.
I actually think there's probably mileage in. Let's just have a big chat about who used to play at this specific lap stadium's name, and that'd just be great. That's what people are here for.
Can't wait for the Christmas quiz night if that's the case. Oh,
we're doing one
God.
This year. We're doing one.
Yeah. Well, didn't we decide on a date and everything already?
Probably. I don't know. I was high on J2O after the other night, after Danny Lloyd.
Yeah. No, this was weeks ago in the WhatsApps with Stockport Gin, 18th of December.
Was it?
This is the first time hearing about it, and I was wanting to be there, so thanks for that.
Well, Wednesday, 18th of December, there you go. Well, it's not officially out there yet, because we've got another event to flog.
Yeah, you just put it out there.
Everyone knows, yeah. Oh, God, the bookings will literally be dribbling in now.
Yeah, they will. Right, we should probably do that if we've said we're going to do it, and we've put it out there. Look forward to it.
Well, it's all you this time, Ben. I'm going to form an SK3 TV team.
That works for me. It's only a matinee day at the Plaza, so yeah.
18th.
God.
Yeah, I'm free on the 18th of December. Also, coincidentally, that will be 28 years to the exact day, to the Wednesday, since we beat West Ham 2-1 in the Coca-Cola Cup, 4th round, 18th of December.
There you go.
Well, maybe we'll mark it by reenacting the goals or something.
Yeah. Just get a massive green laser from the top of the pyramid to shine across Stockport, for those who remember such things.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely and niche. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. That was all good. That was like genuinely a really good opening to the show, and the numbers went up while all that chat was going on. So that just goes to show that we know about content. Right. We will get on to the FA Cup draw, and the first word on the FA Cup draw after this. A good evening for fans of the AXA-sponsored FA Cup. Good evening for fans of tiresome vegan banter. And more importantly, a very good evening for people who want to see us actually have a cup run.
Now you said that, we are absolutely losing to Forest Green Rovers.
No, are we? Fuck.
Yeah, we are. We are. Everybody said we wouldn't lose to Aldershot.
Can I just be probably not the first, but somebody relatively early on to say that when we're in the National League, and then not so much for North because it was novelty, the FA Cup now, but when we're in the North, it's like bollocks to the FA Cup. Let's play a weakened team. Doesn't matter if we lose, promotion's the goal. Didn't agree with it, but I could see the logic. Same in League Two, bollocks to the FA Cup. Play a weakened team, promotion's the goal. Now, can we actually give the FA Cup a little bit of respect? And everyone bemoans that the competition is not taken seriously anymore and it's devalued and all that. We have played our part in that. The way that we have approached the FA Cup, probably since the takeover, really, since Jim left after the West Ham game, has been really poor, in my opinion. That it's a proper first team competition. And I know that the Bristol Street Motors Trophy is and all of this kind of thing, which people just say, well, that's not important. The FA Cup is a proper competition. If we beat Forest Green, we're one game away from a once-in-a-lifetime £1 million day out somewhere. Let's not piss around making loads of changes. Play our strongest 11, beat Forest Green, hopefully beat whoever's in front of us in League Two, and get a proper game in the third round.
Someone playing music? Is someone that excited about the FA Cup that they're just...
Sorry, Vicky's upstairs, like hoovering or steam cleaning like the floorboard.
Jimi Hendrix up there with her.
Yeah, it sounds like she's vacuuming Jimi Hendrix.
Sounds like Starlink's about to come through the roof or something, doesn't it? Let me go in.
Brilliant.
1 second.
We need this. Oh, we need this every week. Oh God! Oh, I'm a big fan of that.
I'm glad your brain went. I'm glad your brain went the same way as me though, because I definitely thought it was some kind of wacky guitar. I was enjoying
it's either a wacky guitar or the weirdest sex toy ever. The most heavy-duty sex toy on earth. So it's one of the two. I would just like to say that I said to friend of the show, Dave Philbin, a few weeks ago, that I'll wait for Ben because Ben will enjoy this. So I was speaking to friend of the show, Dave Philbin, the other week, and I said, when the first round draw comes round, there'll be someone saying, oh yeah, Birmingham away would be good. And then he said, no, that's stupid. We're in the same league. Lo and behold, today, someone said, oh, lowest team at home or a big team away. He said, we are one of the big teams, isn't it? What are you on about?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, I say it's every year. There is, when you're coming in at this stage, unless you're like an 8th tier, weekend outfit, there's no point drawing somebody at the top of League One because there's nobody big enough. Unless there's like occasionally like a Leeds who have dropped to that level. It's not worth going out. You're just going to get battered and it's not worth it. So keep your heads down, get into the third round and see what comes.
Did anybody... Yeah. So first of all, did we all watch the draw? I did. Did you two watch?
Live. I love watching the local mutants.
Did anybody else notice the reaction from the Scarborough manager to getting Burton away? He was disappointed. He was disappointed, and he had a moment with who was the guy doing their home teams? I can't remember who it was.
Stuart McCall.
Stuart McCall, thank you. They had a moment of sort of shared, like, it's a League One team, but it's Burton. He'd have rather got Bradford in League Two or Birmingham away. It's someone like that. But, Burton's not a money spinner, and as Ben says, you're going to get battered. Because they're a League One side, they're a good League One side, you're going to get turned over.
I didn't enjoy Stuart McCall, visibly having fun with the draw. He's done so many of them, that he was just showboating. It's like it's a sacred occasion. It should be like it should be just solemn respect, like blokes modelling underpants. It should be just solemn. Like,
when he mentioned
about.
that he'd drawn one previously that had ended up with Bradford versus Aldershot, but the other way around, I audibly on my own in my flat said fix. And then when it was franchise and Wimbledon, I'm like, something's dodgy going on here.
I'll just wait till round 3 when United are at home again. And City will be at home against Watford. As far as I'm concerned, the third round is always Man City against Watford. Always.
Yeah.
Or just some championship fodder, just every single time.
Like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not for me. Not for me. But it's pretty much, I mean, as we've said, you want the lowest team at home. I know Forest Green are in good form, but you'd think even with the changes that we'll undoubtedly make, because I think it comes off the back of another Saturday-Tuesday week as well.
Yeah, it's after the Reading game. So we'll have Lincoln on the Saturday, then Reading, and then Forest Green, and then we'll have, is it Bolton, I think, on the following Saturday? So we don't have a Tuesday game after the Cup game. I think it's Bolton on the 7 days later or 6 days, whatever we decide to get this played. Hopefully it's on the Sunday, because
the Sunday would work for me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Lincoln, Ben, because there is they come up in a discussion that was there's a discussion that was being quite literally had on WhatsApp today about how many teams have we played in 4 divisions. Yes. And Lincoln came into it. What else do we have? Because we've been going back and forth all day. Chris Eaton got involved in the. I mean, if it's any sort of nerdy stats chat, I want you and Eaton. That's all I want.
Should we throw it out there again? Don't look it up, people, because why would you? Like, teams we have played in 4 or more divisions, please.
Yeah. It's genuinely a really interesting quiz question.
And we're giving you Lincoln, you can have, but 4 or more divisions.
How many teams did we decide there were in the end?
I think we got 6.
Aside from Lincoln, I think 6.
Are we including Phoenix clubs?
Yes.
Of teams?
Yes. That's as we said, like. Legally, it's a different entity, but in the eyes of the fans, who are the ones who matter, it's the same club. So, yeah, we're men of the people here, Will.
Yeah.
So you keep saying.
But there's some names coming in there, and I don't think any of them are right so far. Any of the three names we've seen there.
Did we play York in the National League? I know we played them in the National League North.
We definitely Cambridge is incorrect. We've only played Cambridge in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th tier. We've not played Cambridge in the 2nd tier.
I mean, the most ridiculous question that could possibly be brought up during this debate. I'm sorry, Ollie, but are we including Cup? No, because that defeats the point of playing them in different divisions.
You can have
unless he's reading it as how many different divisions have we played teams from, which is not the question. It's how many different divisions have we played one side.
Yes. Andy's right. I do remember us losing to York.
Yeah, we did.
In the
we
National
did play
League.
York. We played York.
I tried to scrub that season from my memory.
Yeah, we played York in the 3rd tier, the 4th tier, the 5th tier, and the 6th tier.
And the 6th, yeah.
Wrexham, no, we've not played them. I don't think, unless it's way back. I don't think we played Wrexham in the 2nd tier.
When did Wrexham join the league? When did Wrexham join the league? Because we could have played them when there were only 2 divisions.
Say again.
When did Wrexham join the league? Because we could have played them when there was only 2 divisions. Or did they join when it expanded to 3?
I don't know. Too long ago. Don't count.
Fair enough.
Swindon is also a no. We've played Swindon in the 3 Football League divisions. That's where we've played Swindon.
Wrexham, you could have if you include the combination league, but I'm not having it. So, denied.
The combination league is effectively the National League. For the sake of this conversation.
Yeah. Grimsby is correct. We've played 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th tier. Darlington for me and Dowden is a great shout. We've actually played them in 5 divisions, if you include Darlington 1883 or whatever they're called.
Well, they're Darlington again now because they are legally the same entity.
Right.
The FA just didn't recognise it because there wasn't a CVA when they were. They are as legally the same entity as we are from when we exited administration.
Okay. Well, either way, Darlington is fine. Newport is incorrect. Only 3 against them. Either way, we'll leave it open for a little bit, and then we will rather than just talk about this all night. And we'll come back to it in a bit.
Yeah. And what we'll do, we give people a chance to
Grimsby and York are all correct.
So that's a good start. People have done all right. And as Dave Philbin points out, though, anyone who's in the WhatsApp group who was there when this was discussed earlier is an absolute disgrace. Right, what we'll do, we will continue with our regular feature called Random Non-League Goals by Stockport County. And we've got this absolute beauty here that doesn't lend itself as well to the audio version of the pod because there's no commentary on it. But I don't care because it encapsulates everything that was absolutely fantastic about the National League North. And here it is. Cabbage patch of a pitch there. That's just glorious.
Tell you what, a couple of things that just general commentary on that. Bradford Park Avenue, just what a place. We just spoke about this with Danny Lloyd the other night. Dedicated probably like a 10-minute segment to that 2-0 win in April.
Have we done them in 4 leagues?
Yes, Bradford Park Avenue is correct. We have done them in 4 leagues. But that game there, when Ian Howard scored, was a Monday night.
It was indeed, yeah.
Oh, it was a Monday night.
Because the pitch was booked on the Athletics Club had the pitch on a Tuesday.
There we go.
Bradford Park Avenue.
Yeah, February 2014.
There's a lot of long jumpers outside. Like, come on, it's time, lads, it's time.
Yeah, Liam Dickinson played for us that night.
He did indeed, yeah. That was around the time that he'd come back, and everyone was on the pitch at the end, shaking hands with Alan Lord because we felt this was I'm on them highlights, shaking hands with him at the end. He's knocking about in his sambas, and it was like this was the moment. We're going to make the playoffs now, and then we didn't.
Yeah, then we didn't score for 7 games in a row towards the end of the season.
Yeah, just spectacular, absolutely spectacular. Oh, that's great. That, yeah. I remember at the time thinking, yeah, that was one of many moments around that time where you thought, oh, this is it. It's turning now. The ship's turning round, and it just didn't quite turn. There'd be like another issue.
Yeah, exactly that. Then it kind of reared itself on another sandbank somewhere, and yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Look at us now, though. Look at us, to quote Paul Rudd.
Exactly. Yeah. Who'd have thought it? Not me, as they say on the Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Look at us. Yeah.
Oh Christ! But talking of look at us, we should we'll go back into the archives and look. I've picked out three classic county FA Cup occasions that have just happened to already have the clips for, so it was easier, innit? The first one I've gone for is the 2-1 win against QPR, which. It was only watching the highlights again that I realised that was a Saturday 3:00 because everyone sees the priest goal and it's pitch black with the floodlights on and everything. So you just assume it's an evening game or something. But yeah, Saturday 3:00. You watch the first half. It's broad daylight. Blew my mind.
November, baby. That's November.
It's a good month for football. It's a good month.
It wasn't.
No, it was January, wasn't it?
January.
Oh, of course it was. It was third round. Ignore me. I'm talking nonsense.
So a QPR side who the season before had been the highest placed London side in what was then the Premiership.
Finished 5th, I think, hadn't they? They had a
really relatively recently won the FA Cup at that point as well. Or did I imagine that?
I mean, relatively recently, potentially in the same way that we were relatively recently in the Championship.
I thought they'd won it like a year or two before.
Definitely not. Not in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we won it in the 80s either. But
I did. Maybe I could be bleeding the Everton game, and I could be bleeding the.
Yeah, because obviously Everton's first game as cup holders was against us in 97, in 96.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, I'm going to check it now, but I'm pretty sure QPR haven't won it in certainly living memory. They were runners. Oh, you were sort of right. They were runners up in 82. So
I wasn't right, Ben. You can sugarcoat it. I just wasn't right.
Yeah, no, you were completely wrong.
I was completely wrong, and I'm fine with it.
Excellent. Yeah. Moving on.
But Everton were.
Yeah.
So that was probably our. Well, it's still to this day, I'd say our biggest FA Cup scalp in terms of the size of the clubs at the time. I know.
Sorry, Nick. I will promise I'll shut up in a minute.
No, don't.
Ollie Wrigley in the comments. We didn't play Wrexham in the 6th tier, so yeah, we didn't. They didn't drop to the National League North, so that's
the one thing we've got on them.
Yeah, exactly. Let us have that. We didn't play Wrexham.
Fell further, damn it.
Have.
Yeah.
Well, that and 2 league titles.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. We didn't play them in National League North. We played them in 2014-15 in the FA Trophy.
And we failed.
We were 2-0 up, and then it finished 2-2. And then they beat us 6-1 with 10 men, didn't they, at the replay?
And an outfield player in goal
like
for the whole of the second half. And
we
failed to muster a shot.
Yeah, I think we
Chris Churchman.
Yeah. And then we didn't play them again until 2019-20, which is when Minahan and Palmer scored at the racecourse. But we never actually played them at Edgeley Park that season. It was due to be a 20 past 5 kickoff on the final day of the season, which would have been threatening for all involved. But COVID came. So we never got to play Chesterfield away. This would be a great quiz question. Who didn't we play because of the COVID curtailment in 1920?
2020.
Well, the season 1920.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought you meant the year.
Yeah.
That was Spanish flu.
We were definitely meant to play Barrow away, and we were meant to play Chesterfield away. We had Yeovil at home, Wrexham at home, I think Harrogate at home. I've probably just answered my own question. There might be one more away game. Because I remember having tickets for Barrow and Chesterfield and getting refunds from them.
You got a refund. I know people who still complain about not getting a refund from Chesterfield.
At home would have been one because we played them second game of the season on a Tuesday night at Meadow Lane and drew 1-1. Lots of men who should know better with the shirts off.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So yeah, I'm sure there's Eastleigh away. It was Eastleigh away because I remember looking at flights down to Southampton Airport. So when the season,
I remember that now. Actually,
the season we played them when we went up was the only time we ever went there with fans, because the behind closed doors season was when the penny dropped for a lot of people about Steve Rusk. We lost 1-0. Harvey Gilmore was sent off, and the stream was like it was filmed on a potato, and it was so cloudy and murky you couldn't see anything. And it was I think up until the Wrexham game last season, it was the longest ever match thread on Yellow Board. It was like 75 pages of people like, what the fuck have we done replacing Jim Gannon with this donkey? And it was like, yes, this is what we're here for. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And we kept him for another 2/3 of a season.
Great days.
No, it was 4 years ago this week since the Wealdstone lockdown game under Jim.
5-2.
When that was the one where they said, let's have the commentator on the stream said, let's have a look at today's lineups, and just held a team sheet in front of the camera. Out of focus team sheet.
Was that
Dead Fox Corner?
Yeah. Because the dead fox was found by the corner flag. Simple as that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Take me back
Say
to
what you say, lads.
There's nothing like the Vanarama.
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, large portions of the Vanarama National League were less professional and less competent than parts of like the Squirrel North. It was weird.
Mm.
It was very odd. Yeah, just stuff like that was, oh god, take me back. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What a time.
What a time. They are kind of, I mean, obviously you don't want to downplay what was going on in the world and in people's lives back then. And it was a genuinely horrifically difficult time for many, many people. But I'm not wanting to downplay that, but you kind of put that to one side and you focus on some of the sheer moments of brilliance that the Vanarama National League served up and Stockport County served up. And yeah, that deserves its whole. We should have that's a series in itself, like the lockdown years of watching the highlights and the commentaries, and probably long lost, the commentaries and things. But yeah, some of the memories and like the digital programs the club used to put out, and you'd flick through it like that shit issue software, like the page would theatrically turn every time you clicked your button on your mouse. Yeah. Amazing.
Oh god. Oh, we're definitely doing a special on that. That's Oh god. Oh, we have to do that. Yeah. What a time. I mean, for me, it was just mainly making banana bread and touching myself for like the first 6 months. Like people were dying.
And nothing has changed since.
No. That was this week.
I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, which was challenging. So
just a bit.
I'm going to pull friend of the show John Billsbury up. It wasn't Maidstone, it was Maidenhead. But other than that, yeah, remember exactly that. They tried to concoct a little studio thing and like do a full-on broadcast thing before the game. And it was nil. Was it 0-0 in lockdown? It was 0-0, and it was peak Rusk ball. And I remember the whole thread on Yellowboard was like just counting the trains that went past on the train line behind the side of the pitch. Like, don't care whatsoever's happening on the pitch because it is so boring. And it was like, there's, people say, that's like the 1827 from Didcot going into Paddington now. It was that kind of level of conversation.
About 5 people on it. One of them's the driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Lockdown, isn't it? I miss public transport during lockdown. When I got to go back to work for a bit, where I had to get on a train, I had a whole carriage to myself in the rush hour. It was incredible. I loved it.
I think I think my first big adventure after lockdown was first time I went more than from like Sale to like the other end of Sale was to go and meet Adam Proudlock to go and get his Wembley shirt off him. Went for a haircut that morning, first time in 4 months, and then don't have that problem now. And then went to Ecclesall in Shropshire to go and get his Wembley shirt. Brilliant. Yeah, I felt like a free man. I felt like I just got out of Shawshank. Like that. Yeah, I'm free on the M6. I'm not going to get told to turn around and give it a fixed penalty notice.
We might have to have a lockdown diaries every week now. Make it a regular feature.
Yeah, I think so.
Just pick out some of the best. But yeah, this all started from me having a clip for us all of Andy Peace's winner against QPR. So we might as well have it.
Yeah.
We might as well have it before we move on to the second one.
Peter Ward will probably flip the ball in, which he does do.
Yeah, second time we've seen that tonight, if you're watching the video version. On to the second game I picked then. We're going to January 1996. And a point where we were like, that was some cup run, wasn't it? Only to, in the following 12 months, like, no, this is a cup run. Talk to me, Ben.
January 1996. Well, depends if you're going home or away. Which one are you going with?
I've gone home because that was just everything about football distilled.
It was an education in football. That if the absolute, like, you know, when people talk about like the magic of the cup and the magic of the Edgeley Park lights and all this kind of game under the Edgeley Park lights, as if it's some kind of like mythical state of mind, it was exactly that. It was, you know, particularly I was only 10, and it was like a big sold out ground, which I don't think I'd ever seen at Edgeley Park before. And there was actual real famous footballers. I remember seeing Andrew Kinchelskis, obviously just played for United a year earlier, and Daniel Amakachi had been at the World Cup, and Duncan Ferguson and Neville Southall, and all these proper people off the telly were just there. And it felt different. It felt, you know, much more so than, you know, playing Lincoln or Brentford or whoever we used to play back then. And yeah, it had everything. It had that kind of underdogs punching above their weight and holding their own. Then the kind of the reality that a Premier League team can and will punish you within minutes to turn the game round in a couple of minutes to make it 2-1. And then the absolute romance of Alan Armstrong turning, I think, Dave Watson or Gary Ablett inside out, poking past Neville Southall, Edgeley Park absolutely erupting. And then the crushing reality that, you know, back in your box, as John Ebrell just, you know, strode forward and took a slight defection, I think, off Toddy, but then went past Neil Edwards. And he's like, I remember thinking that, like, that shouldn't be allowed. You know, like on Peep Show when Mark Corrigan's like, that's too hard. You know, you're going to hurt someone. Like, you know, we've just scored. You can't do that. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
Let us score now. And what's always struck me, because I've watched those highlights back, probably more than I've ever watched any other highlights back. And it has the clock on the BBC highlights when it's got like the BBC rip on YouTube. And they only played like 1 minute 20 injury time back then. The concept of stoppage time or injury time just didn't really exist. And Alan, I think we pumped the ball, you know, hopelessly forward and the ref blows. And then Alan Armstrong just kind of falls to his knees and he's like literally crying and bereft, and I think Graham Stewart goes to him and tries to hug him and all of this. But either way, that whole episode is why my son's middle name is Alan with a U after that specific goal, because it was probably one of the happiest moments of my life. It only lasted about 10 seconds. But
there's so much there to pick out of it. I mean, we'll watch it in a second, but it was referenced after the first game. Joe Royal said, I know they're wearing a kit like Real Madrid, but don't need to let them play like them. The numbers, just the sheer, I can't even think of the word, but just how basic the number set is on the back of the shirt. Just none of this silly stuff we get nowadays. It was just absolutely fantastic. I vividly remember there being a ridiculous queue for the payphone under the Cheadle end after Armstrong had scored. And then only for basically a whole queue of men to be like, oh, for fuck's sake.
It was
just instantly.
It was just, like proper spellbinding, life-affirming, kind of cementing the reason why you support County that night. It really was. And because I remember I was loosely brought up, like neither my mum or dad were really into football, and grew up in Sale and was loosely kind of brought up as a United fan, and I think I'd been to like a handful of United games when I was really young, and then started going to County with a family friend and got really into it, but wasn't what you'd call kind of like a big County fan. And then I remember went to Villa Park in the League Cup, I think in the October, went to Goodison, went to a few home games, and then went to that, and I remember that was it, a night like that. And I think what is really positive is we are having more and more nights like that now. You know, you think of the Bolton game, that will have cemented County as in the hearts and minds of so many people of that kind of similar age for the rest of their lives, because it was so special. And then you think even not the big games like Halifax or like the Salford playoffs, the kind of more forgotten games like the Torquay game just before Halifax, they are the kind of special nights which mean everything and will mean that Stockport County keeps on going for more and more generations.
Absolutely. Shall we have a look at Alan Armstrong turning on a sixpence and firing past probably the best goalkeeper in the world at that time?
Do it.
I think so.
Yeah, only fair.
Here's Armstrong. Armstrong. Yes! Oh, what timing! It's 2-2 again. And Everton aren't yet safe. Again, a lovely little touch by the youngster. The defenders dived in desperately. But he shot unerringly past Southall. With 2 minutes left of the 90, and just as the tannoy here was announcing that the match sponsors had made him man of the match. I'm not sure he'd done enough previously to justify that, but he has now.
Oh no, public address system. Thank you very much.
What a guy. That there, like Alan Armstrong, I mean, not quite as much as 96, 97, but long sleeve shirt, that bleach blonde mop he used to have, he was a superstar, an absolute superstar for us. And I don't think arguably we've had better players than him. Some will talk about Marsden or Pilkington or whatever. We've never had a superstar like him, I don't think.
I think there's an argument that he's, in terms of where he ended up in his career, how many other ex-players have scored against Inter Milan in the Champions League? Or was it the UEFA Cup?
UEFA Cup.
UEFA Cup. But how many of our ex-players have done that? And he did that.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
he's in the debate for best ever player.
I think so. And particularly what they did for County as well, because people say, George Best. Like, no, George Best doesn't count. You're not having that. Yeah, completely. I was going to say, yeah, I think that clip, you just got it all. It's even better with the county commentary. When it's got Richard Harnwell, obviously says, obviously describes it as a beauty, like a scrambled 3 yard would be described as a beauty by Richard Harnwell. But that really was. Tony Gubber's a little bit too dispassionate there, rather than, Richard Harnwell and Thingy Best doing the proper county commentary. But yeah, just brilliant.
Yeah, not a moment. That takes us round to our third county FA Cup thriller. I'll probably just
what could this be, Nick? What game could this be?
All the shots at home last season. No, it's,
flashbacks.
No, we all know what it is. I'll just play the clip because it's iconic.
More Stockport pressure. And the header into the back of the net. Ash Palmer, who scored an own goal after 5 minutes, sent Edgeley Park berserk. It's 3-3 with 5 minutes to go.
Indulge me.
What's even
Indulge me.
Go on, do it, mate.
We're back in a moment.
Oh, I wonder what
I know exactly what he's going to get. And if it had been a different goal, it would have been even more relevant. I miss Ash Palmer. You know, Fraser is a better defender. It's fine. I'm over that. I wasn't initially. I was very put out at first when Ash lost his place in the side. But my God, do I miss that man. I really miss that man.
Yeah.
What could this be, Ben?
Right. I've actually got a genuine SK3 TV. Let me get that right. Exclusive here, which I don't think I've ever really told anybody before about my shirt collection. So this is genuinely in my head, quite a big thing. So we've just seen Ash Palmer scored.
Oh, is this not the one I thought it was?
One of the favourite shirts I've picked up this year is...
It is not what I thought it was.
From the Bolton, it has the scan number, which you can just about see there. So that is Ash's shirt from the Bolton game. Okay. We all know what happened later on in the game. Obviously, Quigley, Madden scored, and then Ollie Crankshaw to seal the deal. Of course, as Simon Brotherton said, Crankshaw scored. Shirt came off. I was sat in. He runs to lower tier 1. I was sat in lower tier 1, but up against the wall. And I could see it. I was like, fucking somebody pick it up. Just get it. But I couldn't get past people to go and get it. I was like, oh, like, what a missed opportunity. And then I saw someone grab it and stick it under his shirt. I was like, I know you. And well, I know who you are. You're a friend of someone I know. So I messaged the lad I know and said, tell him I'm having that shirt. Like, I'll sort it out. So anyway, arranged a price. And the lad and his mate were in, I think, the Albert after the game. And he sent me a picture and he's like, oh, yeah, you can come and get it at the weekend if you want. And I got back home. It's about 11:30, 11:45, because I had to drop my mate off. And I was shaking. I was so excited about the game, buzzing. I had this shirt. I was like, I can't go to bed. And he was like, oh, we're off into town now. And I was like, right, I've got to go back out, because the chances of you going out now, either losing it, bumping into another county fan who offers you some instant cash for it, are too great. So no, I'm going to get back in my car and I'm going to drive to Gulliver's now and come and meet you and get that shirt off you. So I did it. And obviously that was Ollie Crankshaw's shirt. I put it on Twitter and like the club rang me. You've not got Crankshaw's shirt, have you? I was like, oh, no, not me. And then, yeah, so we went to Woking on the Saturday. And this is where the exclusive comes in. Went to Woking on the Saturday. At the end of the game, all the children are down at the front shouting the players over. And I was like, Ollie. And he was like, for fuck's sake, who's this weirdo? And I was like, I've got your shirt from the other night. Do you want it back? And he was like, ooh, like genuinely like, and he was like, well, yeah, but, haven't you paid for it? And I was like, yeah, but it's your shirt, isn't it? And I maintain that. They're not, I have them in my custody, but they are the players' shirts. And,
Sure.
Where they want them back, I will always facilitate that. So I said, do you want it back? And he's like, well, yeah, but, you've paid for it. And I was like, well, sort me out I'll give it you back if you sort me out one of your other shirts. And he was like, all right. And then he messaged me on Twitter saying, like, really appreciate it, great gesture and all this. So we played Kings Lynn on the Tuesday night. The Tuesday night afterwards, beaten 5-0. Big Ben Barkley scored his first early goal for County. Connor Jennings scored for County. Jennings, yeah. Got a Connor Jennings shirt from that night as well. And at the end of the game, Crankshaw came over. Everyone had disappeared. Crankshaw came over to the bottom of the Cheadle end, and I gave him back his Bolton shirt. And this shirt I have now, Ollie Crankshaw's, is actually from the Kings Lynn game, not the Bolton. He has his Bolton shirt. I gave it him back. And I've never, other than the people I sit with, I've never actually told anyone that before. I've let the legend live on that I have it. But it's his shirt. It's arguably one of the biggest moments of his career. He was genuinely appreciative of it. I have bumped into him since, actually. Saw him about 6 months ago, and he came over and was like, oh, how you doing and all this. And he said, he's still got it, still looks after it. And there's no better place for it to be than with him. I trust he's not going to, bang it on eBay or anything. So I think it's better than him. And I'm a big believer in karma and what goes round comes round and all that. About 2 months later, out the blue, Ben Hinchliffe pinged me on Twitter, said, I've got a couple of shirts you might be interested in. And it was his Nuneaton keeper shirt and his one-off shirt from the West Ham game. Just gave me for the collection. So big believer. I gave that to Crankshaw. Those shirts came to me. So there's your exclusive. And just while we're here to wrap up that season, the big man himself, Keenan Dunlop.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the one.
There we go.
Yeah. That story's made me feel all warm and fuzzy. I like that. It's nice, that.
I already feel warm and fuzzy thinking about, because that was just immense. We talked about the Everton game being just, if people say to you, like, why are you into football? I don't tend to show them the Everton game because it ends in us losing. But the Bolton one is the one I'll pick. But the only problem is with the BBC highlights, because I think that's one where the BBC commentary is fantastic. Yeah. Because as me and you have discussed loads of times, Ben, he lets the moment breathe. He lets you have the crowd noise and everything. But it's the fact that Martin Keown is on co-commentary that really, really hurts.
That was the mood. Yeah. The only other thing is that I don't know whether this exists in kind of the club footage, because I don't know whether the club filmed it or whether BBC filmed it and we just took their footage. I don't quite know how it works with big broadcast games. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming, even with BBC, there will be I'm going to get me terminology all butchered here, so forgive me. But like, there will be a camera which is fixed and kind of follows round and everything. And then they cut to different cameras to close-ups and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There must be one which stayed on the Cheadle end after the goal, that didn't follow the players round, just kind of stayed on the Cheadle end, because the reaction and, as the younger folk call it, the limbs of that goal were kind of generational. And I would absolutely love, because it cuts away so quickly on the footage, because it follows the players quite rightly. But I would love to see an extra 10, 15 seconds of the Cheadle end just going absolutely bonkers, because it was one of the best ever. One of the best ever, Palmer's goal.
As much as limbs is one of those phrases that has grown to like mean nothing now.
Yeah.
It's just, but that was genuine. That was genuine. I ended up about 12 rows ahead of where I'd started. Ended up with bruises all over my legs and everything. It was just one of that. It's the artificial. When I say artificial limbs, I don't mean like amputees going to the football. Yeah. I mean, like just people doing it for the sake of it. But that was genuine. Like we've spoken about it, like on other podcasts, Ben, about that was one of the first games since lockdown. That was the first full house we had, like post lockdown. Yeah. And it was just that release of seeing, well, this is what I've missed for like a couple of years. Yeah. Oh, absolutely amazing.
Do you reckon that exists? Do we reckon that?
It would depend. Well, not necessarily, because it depends on how archiving of football match recordings works. Because obviously that will be how it was live edited on the day. So there'll be somebody in a studio picking cameras and switching between. Now, if the recording is just of the broadcast, then what we have is all that will exist. But if they recorded the feeds, then possibly if a cameraman stayed on it. But it is possible that every cameraman in the ground followed the players. I think it is more likely, though, that they don't record all of the camera feeds. I think it's more likely they just keep a copy of what was broadcast.
Yeah. Does Dan Powell still do our games?
I think so.
Yeah.
He'd be the person to ask.
Yeah, I don't know whether would he have filmed it, or would we have just used BBC's?
I mean, it's definitely BBC's coverage on our highlights, because you've got the several different cameras being switched to and stuff. Yeah. But it's whether, so I'm assuming they'd have their own. I mean, I'm guessing Dan Powell did film it.
He may well have done.
Used.
Yeah, he may well have
Dan
done
Powell,
for the club to have a copy.
I would love to see. Like when we did. I know we've done it since, but particularly when we won the National League, we did that final five kind of behind the scenes thing, which was really, really good. Much better than that donkey did, who we hired in for a few months the season afterwards. But that final five thing was brilliant. It was really, really good. And I'd love to see something like that. It doesn't exist because we weren't doing it back then, but we'd love to see something from the Bolton game of almost like I hate using the phrase, but like a fan reaction kind of thing. Because it was, like you say, it was falling over seats, it was hugging strangers, it was jumping on the spot and pulling muscles and doing yourself an injury for a good 2 or 3 minutes. It was glorious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that footage will all exist on players' phones from when they were back in the dressing rooms.
Yeah.
Fans' phones, if they've stored what they
CCTV from the Cheadle.
CCTV footage, if that, although that.
Get Marn on. Get Tom Marn on. Tell him we want CCTV footage of games.
It does depend on, because a lot of CCTV, they just like, it's a frame a second.
Even better.
So it would...
really like, up here and then.
How quickly somebody gets from like a seat up here to a seat down here, kind of thing.
Yeah. Was that when we had the War Squad as well back then? Were they around? I think they were.
No, they were towards the end of that season.
We're not in yet. They were good. They would have put a stop to that, wouldn't they? They would have come wading in. Stop enjoying yourself. Stop celebrating.
I've talked about it before, but I had a very different experience of the Bolton game. In a similar way to I had a different experience of the Everton game, because that was the first week or the first month of 1996, which was the year that my family and I were travelling from Stockport to Surrey every week. We'd spend the week at school in Surrey and then spend the weekends back in Stockport. And so I missed any midweek. Most of the Saturday games we didn't get to see. And I listened to the Everton game on the radio, because it had radio coverage. In fact, I'm pretty sure I listened to a cassette recording of it, because I know that we had a cassette recording of it for years afterwards. And the Bolton game, I know Nick knows this. I did a thing that some people would find weird. I turned my phone off. I avoided any kind of spoiler because I was at a gig that night. So I watched, I think it was Rise Against, but it might have been The Offspring, one of the two. Got home and my Digibox at home was still recording, which made me sort of think, I think this went to extra time, because if it had finished after 90 minutes, the program would have been over. So even when we went 2-0 down, I thought, I still think that we get back into this. And then I'm sort of, and we're 3-2 down for so long, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just the Digibox was glitching. And then Palmer scores. And I'm like, I think we win this. I'm convinced we win this. And then, yeah. But I got to experience it without knowing the score, without knowing what happened. And I'm so glad that I did that, because, you know, I've got, even though I couldn't be there, I've got a memory from that night of experiencing that sort of the low of conceding those 2 goals, getting one back, then conceding again, without, although having sort of an inkling that I think this works out in the end, I was able to sort of experience it with those highs and lows. You know, it was great.
I mean, it was the atmosphere, even at 2-0 down inside 4 or 5 minutes or whatever it was. There was no. You'd expect us just to be stunned into silence, but it was stunned into silence when the goals went in. But after, everyone was just. I mean, we'll probably have a better atmosphere, an atmosphere as good as that again, the way things are going.
Wow.
Yeah,
I remember.
It seems to have gone a bit embarrassing, but it's fantastic.
I remember at 2-0 down, you're like, oh, for God's sake! But it was so early. You know, it's 5 minutes, so you're like, we can still come into this, and we got it back to 2-1. But then when the third, because Ethan Ross, he had a shocker, didn't he? Like when he came bombing out for their third, I did think at that point, I was like, "Oh, you've just cost us the game here. Like you've basically blown it." For the first one, you can't really knock him for, big deflection. Second one, I think, was down to him not doing whatever he should be doing. Third one was definitely down to him. And then you think, "Oh, you've just blown it for us now, and you're costing us the game." But it just kept coming, and all the way through the second half, we had these half chances and all of this. And to be fair to Ross, he did make a really good save. I think in second half or extra time, must have been second half. It was down at the railway end, maybe even after Palmer had scored. But yeah, it was so much better coming when it did, right in the Cheadle end. Ash Palmer, just one for the ages.
I think first goal, I don't think you can really blame him, as you say, big deflection. Second goal, Ash probably does take more of the blame for that, because he scuffs his clearance. But Ross has gone down to stop it. He should have given Ash the shout that it's keeper's ball. And this is the thing that I keep, whenever the conversation around goalkeepers kind of crops up, communication is a goalkeeper's number one asset above everything else. And you saw it with their third, because he's come bowling out there, and then was it Kitchen nods it back over him?
Yeah.
Kitchen doesn't do that if he knows he's coming. If Ethan Ross gives him a shout, Ross's ball, keeper's ball, whatever it is, Kitchen just either nods it back a little bit or leaves it entirely. Ethan Ross sweeps up and it's fine. And that is the thing, that you can't measure communication with stats. You can't. And so it is one of those things that will only be really judgeable by being at the ground, listening to the keeper, watching the keeper interact with the defenders. And it's the most underrated. Certainly, if it's not the most important, it's the most ignored.
Completely. And thing. You can see it. You can see it with Ross. You get people, he's a good shot stopper. Shut up. It's like saying a footballer's a good kicker. Because of course he's a good shot stopper. That's what a goalkeeper. That's kind of the basic element of their role. But you're completely right, and you can see it with, we've seen it this season with the Dine. I don't want to put the boot in with him. He's a new keeper, new defence, and all of this, and he's got a reasonable record so far. But you can see that in defence there is not that relationship and connection that Ben had with Horsfall and Pye and the others last season and the season before, that there are moments when the ball lands, not so much in the 6-yard box, but kind of 10, 12 yards from goal, and it requires somebody to take charge, whether it is Horsfall or Pye or whoever, or whether it's a die to come out, and it's just not there. And I've said it for a few weeks, and it's going to cost us if it doesn't get sorted. And I don't know whether it is something you can just sort. Maybe it is one of those things that come through playing with the familiar players over time, and that maybe we need to give him a season to kind of get that connection. But it's very, very obvious. And you're right, stats, you can use stats to make any point you want, but stats are only half the story. And you're spot on that the comms and the presence and all of that with the keeper is what makes the good ones stand out.
I think part of it could be that we are trying. I think part of the reason Corey and I start the season is because we're trying to build that relationship to last. Because the idea is that he is going to be our keeper for years to come. And from what I've seen of him, I think he has the potential to go on and be a really, really, really good keeper for us. I think we are sort of we're not sacrificing the season. That's the wrong thing to say. But we're kind of willing to accept issues this season in that regard for a brighter future. So I can kind of understand it.
That's moved us on nicely to the present day, actually, because we can't really wrap up without discussing the big day out in London at the weekend. Which, by the way, I'm just destined to constantly have a Charlton ticket to get rid of. So hit me up if you want a ticket for Charlton on Saturday. Paper ticket. I'll accept £20 for it rather than the stated 25, because I've spent the last week of my life getting rid of a Charlton ticket and then having another one to get rid of. I'm just going to die with it. We go into it with ourselves 12th and them 13th over the last 5 games. They have lost 3 of their last 4, but then their last game was a 1-0 win at home to, let's face it, the team that's going to win it by a mile and be done by February, Birmingham. So, but they have a weird little manager in Nathan Jones as well. Who strikes me as a bit of a gimp. And I don't even have a reason for that, because I mean he got sacked. He got sacked by Southampton after like 2 weeks or whatever it was, and I just felt a bit sorry for him. But
yeah, he did. Obviously, he did well at Luton, didn't he? On a couple of spells, and then he went to Stoke. He was at Luton, did very well. Went to Stoke, didn't happen. Went back to Luton, did very well. Went to Southampton, had an abomination there. I think they were after him after about 2 games, weren't they? And then, I suppose he's not really doing a bad job at Charlton. It's too early to say, but we've not got a. I was going to say, have we got a bad record at Charlton? It's difficult to say. We've only ever really played there about 4 or 5 times in our history. But I'm sure over the next few days, every Stockport County adjacent Twitter account will be playing the clip of 97, 98. So let's get in there early. 3-1 victory. We're the only team to win at the Valley that season. Therefore, the only team to do the double over them. They got promoted. We wore blue shirts with black shorts for the. I think we only did that twice that season. Any guesses on where we did it elsewhere? Blue shirts with black shorts.
So it'll be someone that has white shorts in their home kit, presumably. Because I'm assuming
Sunderland
wore white.
No. Sunderland had not white shorts.
Black shorts, I think Sunderland were.
Yeah.
Swindon
Having said that, I say it's the only time. I don't know confidently it was the only time, but I know there was definitely another occasion we wore black shorts with blue shirts.
Andy has offered Swindon in the comments.
Don't know. It's great.
This is going well.
That's not the one I was thinking.
Stoke?
No.
Okay.
Oxford.
Who else played in red? I don't know why I'm thinking of red.
I think it was the only game a Canadian international played for us.
Paul, what's his face?
Forest Crew.
Oh no, Martin Nash.
No, Martin Nash came in 96, 97. There was another Canadian came in 97, 98. Played one game. We didn't play Exeter in 97, 98.
So I'll
And this is
I'll see.
97, 98.
Yeah.
Who did we have?
We played another team where we wore blue shirts and black shorts. And in that game, a Canadian international played for us. And I think it might have been his only appearance for us. If not, it was certainly like one of two. But I'm sure it was his only game for us.
I have nothing.
Yeah, it was his only game. It was his one game for us. Oh, come on.
No,
I'm sorry, I don't know about Canadian internationals who played one game for County.
It was just before Christmas. It was Forest away. We lost 2-1.
Oh, so I did get the team right.
Yeah, I did point when you said Forest.
Okay, I thought you had, but I wasn't sure if I imagined
and the
it.
Canadian international was Jeff Aunger.
Did he only play one game?
He only played one game for us.
Because I know he was in the team in, this is random, Premier Manager, I think it was, I had on the PlayStation. And that was the 97-98 season, and he was in our squad in that game.
Yeah, he came on at the top.
Wow, there you go.
Jeff,
a wild time. What was that? Before we wrap up, then we should reveal the teams that we've played in 4 or more different divisions. Should we not? What did we have on the list?
Who did we say earlier? We confirmed York, Grimsby.
Lincoln as the example that was given.
Was the seed.
Darlington, Hereford,
Darlington, Barrow, Park Avenue,
Grimsby, of course.
Grimsby, Chester. Possibly.
I didn't know that we'd played Bradford Park Avenue in the National League.
Yes, first season, I think.
No, we didn't. We played them 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th. We didn't play them in the 5th. So we played them in the 2nd tier, way back.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So a bit like the thing I was wondering with Wrexham, if we'd played them in the 2nd tier, way back.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Southport, I think, are another from way back.
Yeah.
Played them in National League and National League North in living memory, but I think 3rd and 4th tier go way back.
Yeah, that makes sense. You said Barrow. I'm thinking now because I wasn't thinking before because I saw
Halifax. Was Halifax one?
Halifax.
We've certainly done
I
at
don't
least 3
think
with
we
Halifax.
played Halifax in the National League.
No, we did.
No, we did. I'm thinking of Chester. Thinking of Chester. Because Chester got to the National League. Yeah, because Chester got to the National League while we weren't there and then dropped back down before we got there.
Yeah. Notts County are another. We played Notts in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah.
Halifax is 4 as well. Because we played them in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We played them in the 5th tier in 2 seasons under Rusk in 21-22. We lost 3-0 at their place. And what was the score? Oh, well, we beat them on the final day 2-0 to go up. And then in 1920, we played them and drew 0-0 on New Year's Day. And we beat them 5-1 on Boxing Day. Elliot Osborne scored a hat-trick.
Are there any of these
in 16-17?
Are there any of these teams that we played in 5 divisions, or are they all just 4? Darlington we've done in 5.
Yeah, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah,
I think they're the
only tiers we've played in.
Yes,
we teased it, we discussed it, and we had a resolution for everyone. That's podcasting.
That's a secular narrative.
Yeah, we let them all get involved, and then when they were all wrong and they all made an absolute mess of it, we wrapped it up for them.
Exactly. So, yeah, do your research.
In fairness, you do ban people from doing research when you set these tasks. You do ban people
from looking the answer up.
Yeah, that is research.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I say, if I ask you a question, you go and Google the answer. That's not research. That's cheating.
Well, it's both.
Well, I think it's cheating. I think if you went to a conference and Google the answer, you'd be banned for cheating.
Research.
Mad, isn't it? No game this weekend just gone, but we've done a bumper 75-minute show. So I think
this is one of the best ones we've done.
I think so. I think I think like 3 weeks in a row we've rattled off one for the ages. I think
just before the reason I was a little bit late today, apart from my laptop not working, is I had to nip out to go and collect a couple of shirts off somebody, and these are genuine new editions. I'm not just like grabbed them to kind of look what I've got. But any guesses who wore this one? Got one guess each.
Gleason.
Incorrect.
McNeil.
Incorrect. Gary Dicker.
Ooh.
And then any
Gary
guesses?
Dicker for the audio listeners.
Any guesses who wore this one?
I mean, I'm gonna say Dicker, even though I'm sure it's wrong.
Okay, Nick.
I'm going to say Paul Turnbull.
Gary Dicker.
Hey!
Ah.
I went for the obvious answer, thinking it'd be wrong.
And then this as well, 17-18. Is it away or third shirt? Away shirt. We actually wore it at home against FC United.
That shirt.
4th of
It's a great shirt,
November,
that is. I love that.
2017. Any guesses who wore this? I mean, squad number. Who are you having? Number 5. Who wore that?
5. So
Oh, fucking hell. What year was it?
2017-18. It's not Niall Bell. He didn't wear number 5.
oh, it's
Who said no?
Ash Palmer, surely.
Was Ash
no,
with us?
he didn't come to the following season.
Yeah.
Ash didn't come to 18-19.
I was 18, yeah.
Chris Smalley, or did he usually wear 6?
Almost. Who did Smalley typically line up against? Or line
Wasn't
up with?
Michael Clark.
It was Michael Clark.
Was it Michael Clark? I couldn't remember if he'd gone by then.
And then last one, which is not very exciting, but a 14-15 prototype away shirt. Look at that.
See, I think that's.
So it's the same
lovely.
template pattern as the home one. It's kind of same fit and everything. But there we go. I know where Dicker's Wembley shirt is. So do I, because there were several of them. One of them is on his kitchen wall. His long sleeve one, which he wore in the second half, is in my collection. So if there's one other out there, then yeah, there you go. But all of the shirts that the players wore that season, the home shirts, were sent off to be embroidered. So if a player had 5 shirts that season, which someone like Liam Dickinson would have done, every single home one was sent off and had Wembley embroidery added. And there is probably at least 5 people who claim they've got Dicko's match-worn shirt from Wembley, but he has it. He's still got it. I've got one of his long-sleeve ones from the season with the collar ripped off, which will have been worn throughout the season, but it's not his shirt from Wembley. Similarly, there's about 3 Paul Turnbull ones. He's got one. I've got one. I know somebody else has got one. They've not all been worn at Wembley. They are just shirts that will have been worn throughout the season that have had the embroidery added.
If you're Liam Dickinson, you are keeping the shirt that you wore when you scored a goal at Wembley.
Of course you are, and so he should. Should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite right.
Yeah. I've got 3 of Adam Proudlock's from when I had the great big Adam Proudlock kind of rehabilitation project in 2020 and cleaned out all his stuff. I've got a short sleeve blue Wembley shirt, a long sleeve blue Wembley shirt, his green keeper shirt, his white away shirt, his gold third shirt, and his Wembley medal. So that's exciting.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Quick word on last Wednesday with Danny Lloyd, Ben. It was good, wasn't it?
He was great. To be honest, for those who were there, you'll know the kind of level of detail and everything, how he spoke and what a good guest he was. But for those that weren't, how it works is I will set up a rail with shirts that are kind of relevant for that player's career, and we'll pull out everyone and talk through it and all that kind of thing. And me and Nick were just chatting before, and Danny came over and he was a bit like, I remember this one. And he said something, I remember, that was Ross Rule. And I was like, this is going to be a long night. Like, we never had a player called Ross Rule. And then he picked up another shirt and it was like, I remember that. That was like, and he got the season wrong. And I was like, this is going to be tough. But the level of detail, he knows everything about every game he played in, every player, every goal he assisted, every goal he scored, the opposition he faced, the kind of part-time of the season it came. He really, really knew his stuff, and we didn't really have to do anything other than queue up certain talking points. Yeah. And then he'd go for kind of 5 minutes in really, really strong detail and kind of tell a side to those stories and games that otherwise you'd never hear. So, yeah, he was really, really good, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
One of my favourite players of all time as well. For all the reasons we went into during after just years of shite, having this player who got you off your seat and got it and made an effort with the fans. It was just and he made an effort with the fans. I think bought a round of drinks for everyone, which I thought was a classy touch, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, fair play.
Yeah. What a player he was, by the way. And I think I think we described him on the night as almost like the player that made us believe in County again, and he was, because after all of that, and it wasn't just him. Obviously it coincided with Jim coming back, and he talked about what a positive influence, not just in his career but his life, that Jim was, and essentially Jim's belief in him turned Danny's life. Not that it needed turning around, but took it in a completely different direction. Yeah. So it was really interesting to hear talk about Jim. But for all this, Jim came, you had Minahan, Hinchliffe, Jimmy Ball, all of those players who were great. But Danny is the one who really made us think that things were possible again with County. So to hear him talk about us with such affection and tell those stories and everything was just, really, really good. And if you weren't there, then, you missed out.
Yeah, and if you were there, thank you. You helped support some fantastic charities, and thank you to Stockport Gin as well. And watch this space for more. I'm sure there'll be more stuff.
Is any players who genuine? Sorry, Nick. I was going to say genuinely, if there are any players you think would be good value for an evening with, I think a little bit else. Not to say that they're not good value, but I think Mike Flynn has told these stories quite a few times. Yeah. A little bit off the beaten track of players, you'd like to see us talk to. Like, drop us some messages on Twitter. Let us know who they are, because we would like to do more. We've got a few in mind who we think would be good. But, it's not to say we've just got access to any player we want. And I think kind of current players are kind of off limits from the club. But ex-players who you think have got a bit of a story to tell, give us a shout and let's see what we can do.
I would also file Liam Dickinson under all the stories have been told.
I would as well. He's done every podcast.
He's done so many podcasts and stuff. Yeah.
And he's very difficult to control on a night out as well. He came to the Peter Ward night I did in May 2022. Brilliant value, loads of great stories. Would happily have him there, but Jesus, I think trying to rein him in to tell stories for 2 hours would be, difficult.
Yeah, tough one, isn't it? Tough one. And rest assured that the minute Ben Hinchliffe leaves the club, we'll be on that.
The problem is Ben's never going to leave the club. He's going to be keeper coach when he returns from playing. Right? Yeah.
We'll have him. We'll have him. The minute he's no longer a player.
I think a good one.
We got Tom Mann and his staff, so.
Yeah, I think a good one to do, and I'm sure he would completely disagree and wouldn't want to do it, but would be Landon, who's been at the club as a kit man under, how many different managers and through how much the club has been through. Yeah. And he's literally been in the changing room for every single one of those games. He knows and has worked with every single player in that time. Danny Lloyd spoke really kindly about him the other night. Yeah. I think some of the stories he would have would be, incredible. Obviously, he's a club employee. He's not, I'm sure he wouldn't want to come anywhere near us at the best of times anyway. But it'd be great to hear some of the stories he's got in the future.
He could write a book. He could write a book on his time at County when it comes to an end.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And obviously the other one.
Tell you who the dream guest is for me.
Well, there's only
I think I might have an idea.
There's one in but my top one is Jim, obviously. But the problem,
let's say that goes out saying that Jim.
I have a feeling Nick.
Boxall.
I was literally I feel like Nick's about to say Boxall. Yeah.
The problem with Jim is, where do you even begin? He's 1,000 games, 30 years association with the club.
Yeah.
Player, manager, you can't possibly do that in 2 or 3 hours. You'd need a whole series of 2-hour episodes to go, and because you want to talk about his life, his philosophy, his principles, everything that made him the man he is, before you even begin to talk about the football side of things. So, but Ken Boxall would be great. Just get him to say his quotes for like 2 hours. That'd be it. You could get him to do the idents for this.
That's the one reason I want him. I have about 20 idents written that I want him to read out.
Shall I email him?
Please. Yeah.
I got him a flag. He likes me. But the only person
That's right.
But yeah,
I want that flag up behind us.
I'll do it. I've got it in the cupboard next door.
Right, that's happening. Keep an eye out on our socials for an evening with Kenny Boxall. Job's a good one. Oh, it's exciting.
He's not actually an employee either, is he, of the club? So he's a freelancer. He don't get paid.
I was going to say, is he a contractor?
Like us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the club are never going to get rid of him. Can't get rid of Ken. There'd be riots.
There'd be riots in the streets if they get rid of Ken. I'm not having it.
Yeah.
No, Jim was one thing, but Ken now.
Yeah. We said this before, but like it's become a bit of a cliche now. But get rid of Ken, or close, or Ken decides to hang up his press release, and it'd just be some match day experience whopper, wouldn't it? Getting the crowd.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Yeah, let's make some noise. Let's make some noise for the Hatters. Yeah. Or like that call and response thing. It's like Louis Barry, and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
Kill me. Absolutely done. On that note, I think we'll leave it. Cheers, gents, for joining me. With pleasure.
Yeah, been fun.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
That was as Sausage Fest go. That was acceptable. I think we covered a lot.
Went on a bit. Hour and a half, but there you go.
Bumper show for the international break when there's been no game. Right. We covered so much, it was great. Right, goodbye everybody. See you next week at 8, and don't forget to like the video and all that sort of stuff because it's apparently important. I'm just about creating stuff that I like, that I'd like to listen to. I'm not bothered about the likes, but they do help, so please do.
I'm bothered about the likes. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.